Hello, welcome back to my channel. In this episode I'll be doing another book review, and this time it's The Keys to Paradise by Robert E. Vardeman, published in 1986. And this is a very easy read. It looks like quite a big book, but that's because it's made up of 3 separate individual books, although I have to say I've never seen them sold as individual books, but if you ever do see them in individual form, the titles are The Flame Key, The Key of the Skeleton Lord, and The Key of Ice and Steel. But I've only ever seen it as The Keys to Paradise. And oh, God, I love that smell. In fact, actually, that is the sweetest smelling book I've smelled in a long time. Excuse me while I get high on this. Anyway, I got distracted by book sniffing. Book sniffing is a thing, and it's addictive. If you're a child, don't do it. Don't get addicted to book sniffing. Read books, don't sniff them. Just going to get a bit more of that.
7 hours later.
This is The Keys to Paradise by Robert E. Vardeman. I've not read any of his other work, but I like his author's voice. I like the way he writes. It's a very easy, straightforward narrative style. His prose is excellent without being overly flowery. He doesn't try to impress the reader with any clever words or turns of phrase. He just tells a story, and it's a very simple story. It's probably full of cliches and tropes. I don't really care. I haven't analysed it that much. This is a book that I read when it's snowing or when there's a storm, when it's rainy and dreary outside. This is a book that you can snuggle up in your duvet with a cup of hot chocolate and just devour. It's an easy read, it's a quick read, it's not breaking any new ground, but at the same time I never get a sense of it specifically copying anything that I recognise. It's just using familiar situations, familiar scenarios and familiar character types. Speaking of characters, let's introduce you to them. The main character in these books is Giles Grimsmate. He is a grizzled veteran of a 20-year war, the Trans War, which was fought between humans and a race of creatures who are humanoid, but they're trans, and that doesn't mean transsexual or transgender or anything that the word trans means nowadays. I suspect that when he was writing this, Robert E. Vardeman didn't know about trans people or didn't know that term. Trans in these books refers to people that are part animal. Long ago in their history, they pissed off a witch or a sorceress of some description, and she put a curse on them that they would become like animals. Some people are like pigs, some people are like dogs, some are like bears, some are like cats. They share the traits of these animals. Originally they actually were these animals, and gradually through evolution they've evolved back into being mainly human again, but they still retain some of these animalistic traits. And so there was a war fought between the humans and the trans, and it lasted 20 years. That all happened before this book starts. This book begins with Giles Grimsmate, who is a sort of grey or white-haired grizzled veteran of the trans wars. He's tired, he's exhausted, he's had enough. The war's over now, it's all finished, but he's got no life left. His home has been destroyed, his family's gone, he has nothing left except war stories, which he can't share with anyone because all his old colleagues have died in the wars as well. So he's all on his own. He's miserable, he's pissed off, he's tired. He's sitting in the Laughing Cod, eating his stew, minding his own business, and some nearby patrons begin a game of dice, and he joins in with this game just for the comfort of human companionship. And what do you know, he does really well, his luck's with him, and he wins, amongst other things, a golden key, and the inscription on the key is The Key to Paradise. And along with the key, he gets told the story. It's kind of a myth, a legend about the gates to paradise, that if you can find them, you can get into paradise, and it's filled with all your heart's desires, riches, women, whatever it is that you want, you'll find it in paradise if you can find the gate, which is invisible, and if you can find the keys. And I say keys plural because it takes 5 keys to open the gates to paradise. It has 5 locks and 5 keys. And so this key, supposedly, which Giles has won in a dice game, is one of the 5 keys to paradise. In a parallel story, a thief called Kea Churak, that's how I choose to pronounce his name, it's spelled like this, he encounters his key to paradise when he steals from a merchant. He bags a load of coin and also this key, which he pockets. So now we've got 2 characters, Giles and Kea, each have a key to paradise. And the third parallel storyline is Petya Daria, who is a sexy female trans woman. She's mainly human, but she's part cat. She's got some feline qualities and also some cat powers, which we discover later in the story. And Petya is a tavern wench. She's really pissed off. She doesn't enjoy being a tavern wench, and she can't wait to get out of there and find a better life. And Petya is working as a tavern wench at the tavern where Kea arrives with his key, and so he's one of the guests at the tavern. He seems to be quite wealthy. She decides to rob him so that she can escape from her life of misery and drudgery as a tavern wench and get away from all these filthy, smelly humans who she despises. So she sneaks into Kea's room in the middle of the night and attempts to steal his money and discovers his key to paradise, but he wakes up and stops her, and he's instantly attracted to her because, of course, he's a lovable rogue. He's a womanizing thief, and he wants to get his end away with Petya. She's having none of it, although she doesn't find him unattractive. But through the course of them meeting and him catching her attempting to steal his key, the 2 of them team up together, and eventually all 3 of them team up together when they encounter Giles later on down the road. And the 3 of them decide, for their various reasons, Giles because he's bitter and cynical and sick of all the fighting, Kea because he's on the run from a merchant that he stole from, and Petya because she wants to get away from her life of drudgery. The 3 of them team up together and decide to go off in search of the gates to paradise. And they've got 2 of the 5 keys, so they need to search for the other 3, and that's the 3 books. They find a key in each of the 3 books. It's all very neat and tidy. So the first key that they go in search of is the flame key. That is watched over by a cave-dwelling fire sorceress, and this is the only fantasy book I've ever encountered that has flame atronachs as some of its mythological creatures. In Book 2, the key of the Skeleton Lord is devil-guarded in a place of scorpions and snakes. It's a desert-based book. And one of the things I like most about this 3-book volume is the fact that the adventure takes us to 3 completely different types of environment, but all neatly within the confines of each book and each key that they're searching for. The flame key, the first key, was in a temperate environment. The second key is in a desert environment, and they also pick up another companion, another cat trans, in this place. And then the third key, the key of ice and steel, is locked in an underground smithy protected by a frozen demon-prowled maze. And this book, the third book, takes place in an icy world, ice caves and all that sort of thing. So they collect all 5 keys and then, of course, have to find the gate itself, which is invisible. It's a really easy read. It's a really fun story. It's nicely written without being overwritten. It's quite simple, straightforward, very linear. The characters are great. The dialogue is great. Nothing about it is exceptional, but that's okay. Every book you read doesn't have to be exceptional. sometimes you can just enjoy a really good story, and that's what this is. It's just a good story, nicely told. This is one of the fantasy novels that I've actually picked up more frequently than a lot of the more popular and arguably better or superior books, mainly because it's comfortable and easy and just nice. I like it, and it's kind of obscure as well. Not a lot of people have heard of this book, so I don't even know how easy it is to find anymore. I picked it up hundreds of years ago, back in the mid-80s. But yes, I recommend it if you can get your hands on it. The Keys to Paradise. It's not terrible, it's not exquisite, it's just comfortably nice. A nice, easy read. And on that note, I think I'll call it a day. Thank you very, very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, you know what to do. Please hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and I will see you next time. See you later.